Yomif Kejelcha crossed the finish line at the 2026 London Marathon and did not celebrate. He stood there stunned, staring at the clock. His coach told him the time. He shook his head. He thought he ran 2 hours and 1 minute. He had actually run 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 41 seconds in his very first marathon ever. That disbelief on his face was the whole story. Before April 26, 2026, nobody in history had ever broken 2 hours on their marathon debut. Not Eliud Kipchoge, who tried more than 10 times in his peak years and never did it under official race conditions. Not the late Kelvin Kiptum, whose debut was 2 hours, 1 minute, and 53 seconds. That was considered untouchable for a first marathon. Kajelcha beat it by 2 full minutes and 12 seconds on his first try. But here is the part that makes this harder to believe. Before London 2026, Kejelcha had never raced beyond 21 kilometers in competition. He was a track and road specialist, a man built for shorter distances. Yet he lined up at the London Marathon start line and treated it like a track race. To understand how he did it, you need to know his numbers. In 2019, Kejelcha set the indoor mile world record at 3 minutes and 47 seconds. His 5,000-meter personal best of 12 minutes and 38 seconds ranks 4th best in history. His 3,000-meter best of 7 minutes and 23 seconds sits 6th all-time. On the roads, his 10K personal best of 26 minutes and 31 seconds makes him the second fastest man in history at that distance, only 7 seconds off the world record. Then came Valencia, October 2024. Kajelcha ran the half marathon in 57 minutes and 30 seconds. A world record. He crossed the finish line and collapsed. He was vomiting. He could barely stand. That performance showed exactly who this man is. When he commits to a distance, he runs until there is nothing left. Keep that in mind for what happens later in this race. The London Marathon pacers were asked to bring the lead group through halfway in exactly 60 minutes and 30 seconds. World record pace from the first step. This was not a cautious plan. This was an attack on history. Pacers Andrea Kipu and Oscar Chelimo did the work through 25 kilometers, and Kejelcha was still running strong. He later said he felt relaxed and in full control through 41 kilometers. This was his first marathon, and he was managing it like a veteran. By 30 kilometers, only 2 men remained together: Kejelcha and Sebastian Sawe. Jacob Kiplimo, the half-marathon world record holder at the time, had already been dropped. The race was down to these 2 men, and something was about to happen at mile 24 that would decide everything. At mile 24, Sebastian Sawe ran a single mile in 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Inside a full marathon. That is believed to be the fastest single mile ever recorded inside a marathon race in history. Kajelcha was still moving well. He still looked strong, but there was no answer for a move like that. Nobody in the world could have answered it at that point in a race. The gap opened. Sawe did not ease up. He crossed the line in 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds. A world record. The 2-hour barrier was gone. 11 seconds later, Kajelcha crossed the line. Go back to that opening moment. The stunned look, the disbelief. The man who thought he had run 2 hours and 1 minute. He had run 1:59:41 in his first marathon. Sebastian Sawe needed 4 marathons to break 2 hours. He improved by more than 2.5 minutes from his debut time of 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 5 seconds. Kejelcha did it in one race. His 1:59:41 scored 1,324 points on the World Athletics scoring system. That score sits higher than his half-marathon world record, higher than his second-best 10K in history, higher than his 4th-best 5,000-meter time in history. His marathon debut is now, by official scoring, the greatest single performance of his entire career. Haile Gebrselassie had been telling Kejelcha for years that he was a strong athlete. After London, Kejelcha said he believed Gebrselassie would finally be happy. Kejelcha is 28 years old. Marathon runners typically peak between 28 and 34. He had never experienced the wall at kilometer 35 in a competitive race before London, and he still broke 2 hours. That wall will not surprise him the next time. The disbelief on his face at the finish line was not the ending. It was the beginning. Because when a man crosses the finish line in 1:59.41 on his debut, Gabby Thomas won 3 Olympic gold medals in the summer of 2024. Then, an Achilles injury wiped out her entire 2025 season. Most athletes play it safe after that. Gabby booked 3 races across Ethiopia, Kenya, and Botswana in just 10 days. Her first time competing on African soil in her entire career. What she is actually building toward will completely change how you see this comeback. At the 2024 Paris Olympics, Gabby Thomas did not just compete. She took over the entire games. She won the 200 meters in 21.82 seconds. She ran legs in both the 4x100 and 4x400 relay teams. 3 gold medals from 1 games. No American sprinter had a better summer. She left Paris as the second fastest woman in history over 200 meters, sitting behind only Florence Griffith Joyner. That was her peak. And then May 2025 arrived and changed everything. The Achilles injury started small. Gabby kept pushing through the pain the way great athletes always try to do. At the USA Championships, she fought all the way to the finish line and placed 3rd in the 200 meters by just 1/1000th of a second. That tiny margin kept her spot on the World Championships team. Barely. But the injury kept getting worse through July. 2 weeks before the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, she made the call and pulled out. She said she came to the realization that it was okay to be human. For the woman who just swept 3 gold medals in Paris, that statement cost something real. Tokyo went on without her. And here is the part that matters most. 8 months of rehab. 8 months of questions about whether her Achilles would ever hold under full sprint pressure again. April 7, 2026. Texas Relays in Austin. Gabby steps onto a track for the first time since the USA Championships. She runs the 100 meters. She wins. Her time is 11.0 seconds flat. That ties her personal best in the 100 meters. Not a slow and careful first race back. A personal best on the very first day. Then she came back the same day and ran a leg in the 4x400 relay. 2 events. First day back in competition. After the race, Gabby said she still had a lot of work to do this season. She ran a personal best and told everyone she still had more to give. That alone tells you exactly what kind of mindset she is carrying right now. 1 week after Texas, Gabby posted a schedule that sent shockwaves through the athletics world. 3 races, 3 countries, 10 days. April 18, the Addis Ababa Grand Prix in Ethiopia. April 24, the Kipchoge Classic in Nairobi, Kenya. April 26, the Botswana Golden Grand Prix in Gaborone. Her first time competing on the African continent in her entire career. No other American sprint star at her level has ever attempted a schedule like this. Especially not 8 months after Achilles surgery, with just 1 race behind them. Most fans assume altitude helps all runners the same way. It does not. Distance runners train in Kenya and Ethiopia, on purpose, because thin air forces the body to produce more red blood cells. Those red blood cells carry more oxygen. When distance runners come back down to sea level, their bodies are supercharged. That is why Kenyan and Ethiopian marathon runners are almost impossible to beat. Remember what was said earlier. Jefferson Wooden won the 200-meter world title in Tokyo, while Gabby recovered at home. That race has no clean ending yet. Jefferson Wooden holds the World Championship gold. Gabby holds the Olympic gold. Their rivalry is one of the most unfinished stories in the sport right now. And while Jefferson Wooden works through the traditional European circuit, Gabby is stress testing herself in conditions that nobody in sprinting would dare touch. That gap in preparation strategy is not an accident. 2026 is the only year between now and the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, with no Olympics and no traditional World Athletics Championships on the schedule. No global title is at stake this year. That makes 2026 the exact right time to push limits, test new events, and find out what the body can truly handle under pressure. Gabby has already made clear she plans to race more 100-meter events and more 400-meter events this season. The 400 meters is not new ground for her. At the Grand Slam track meet in Kingston, Jamaica, she ran 49.14 seconds in the 400 meters. a personal best that put her in the all-time American conversation. She later improved that to 49.01 seconds. She is not simply returning. She is building a completely different version of herself before the season peaks. The truth every Gabby Thomas fan needs to hear is simple. She is not easing back in. She is not protecting her image. She is not waiting for perfect weather or perfect conditions. She is taking a risk that most athletes at her level would never touch after serious Achilles surgery. Julian Alfred ran 21.71 seconds in the 200 meters in London in July 2025 into a headwind and broke the world record. The bar in Gabby's best event has been raised higher than it has ever been. She knows exactly what the standard now looks like. She is not in Africa to mark time.